And welcome to Marcus and Mike Show, guys. I am Mike. My man over here to the left is Marcus. Marcus, how you doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just sunny San Antonio, man. It's a nice day.
It is a
And
nice day.
and NBA basketball is around the corner, man. My Spurs, is that crazy or what? It seems like it just ended just a couple of months ago, man. Basketball starts, training camp starts here in a few, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is a crazy aspect to wrap your head around. But Monday was the
Yeah.
first day of fall, so I guess we are getting a little
Right.
close here. But today's theme of today's show is undefeated teams. We're going to talk a little bit of Kansas City Chiefs, talk to Patriots, talk to Detroit Lions. They're undefeated too. But
Yeah.
how you become an undefeated team or what happens to undefeated teams is they go to the Super Bowl. So, Marcus, on today, I got some Super Bowl trivia questions to ask you. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready. I'm always ready for trivia, man. It's
Okay,
fun.
just a disclaimer as always. I literally just pulled these up right before we started to
Right.
record here, so Marcus has no idea what I'm about to ask him.
Mhm.
But I typed in NFL trivia in the Google machine. Super Bowl came on, and I pushed the medium button. I'm gonna let you ease into Super Bowl questions here, okay?
Okay.
So the first one: which NFL player guaranteed his team would win Super Bowl III the week before the big game? Was it Don Shula, Joe Namath, Johnny Unitas, or Jeff Hostetler?
Jeff Hostetler was probably 10 years old. I wasn't born. It's Joe Namath.
Yeah, that one was pretty easy.
Yeah.
So moving on to question number two. This running back holds the record for career rushing yards in the Super Bowl with 354. Is it Larry Zonka, Rocky Bieber, Jerome Bennis, or Franco Harris?
Franco Harris.
Franco Harris. We'll see. Clicked on that. That answer is correct. He does have 350 career rushing yards in the Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. Super Bowl 9, Super Bowl 10, and Super Bowl 12 and Super Bowl 13.
There you go. Great fact there. So, which question number three? Which coach led the Buffalo Bills to four Super Bowl games? So four Super Bowl games. Was it?
That would be
Go ahead.
okay. That would be Coach Marv Levy.
Yep, that was the
Man,
question
this
number.
is fun.
Question number four: which city hosted the second most Super Bowls?
Ooh,
Was it Houston, San Diego, New Orleans, or Tampa?
dang, New Orleans might have held. God, that's a tough one. I don't. Sometimes I don't pay attention to the locations of the Super Bowls. I know probably the worst location was Jacksonville one year. Um, I'll go New Orleans. I'm not sure.
So that answer is correct.
Oh wow.
However, they did not give me the number of Super Bowls that they listed there.
Right.
So, question number five: how many interceptions did Aaron Rodgers throw in Super Bowl XLV, which is what it was at? 45.
Wow. I don't even remember him throwing an interception. Did they won? No. Did they win that game? Yeah, they won.
Yeah.
He's only gone to one and he's won one. Uh,
Multiple choices:
wait,
0, 1, 2, or 3.
see, that's a tough one. I don't remember his stats. One interception. I'm probably wrong. It's probably zero.
Yeah, the
One.
correct answer is 0. He did throw
Yeah.
0 interceptions in Super Bowl
Yeah, I don't even remember him
45.
throwing an interception. Yeah.
So we have five more questions for you here as they
Okay.
drastically get harder here. Question number six: which of the following teams have never been to a Super Bowl? Carolina Panthers, Detroit Lions, San Diego Chargers, Baltimore Ravens.
The what the what was Detroit's never been.
Yep, that is correct. Detroit Lions have never been to a Super Bowl. Maybe this year
And you're
is the year they are starting to see the going into Week 4 undefeated here.
yeah, you're going to a game with a battle of unbeaten. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Question number seven here: who was the MVP of Super Bowl XXV, where the New York Giants defeated the Buffalo Bills? Was it Lawrence Taylor, Otis Anderson, Phil Spence, or Mark Bravo?
It was Otis Anderson, OJ Anderson,
That is correct. He was the
number
MVP.
24.
Question number eight: this wide receiver holds the record for most touchdowns in a single Super Bowl with 3. Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, Roger Craig.
Jerry Rice.
Right again. Right again. Man, I don't think you missed one yet. I mean, we will let that Aaron Rodgers one go because you did say zero, but you said one at the same time. So
Yeah,
we'll
I was a little iffy on that one.
Question number 9. Who are the only two Super Bowl MVPs born outside the United States? Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, Mark Ripton and Heinz Ward, Troy Aikman and John Elway, Ray Lewis and Dexter Jackson.
No, it's the Mark Rippon and Heinz Ward.
That is correct. They were both born outside the USA. However, it doesn't tell me where they were born.
I don't know. That's a good one.
Question number 10. How many times have the Denver Broncos won at the Super Bowl?
How many times have they won?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Twice.
Twice.
Yeah, they've won. Yeah.
Back to back,
won,
I believe it was what, 98,
yep.
99?
Yep, that's when they won them.
All right, guys. That's going to be it for the trivia questions today. That is Super Bowl version. Marcus was 10 for 10. Maybe next time we'll have to click on the very hard tab.
Yeah, I was 9.5. I got
Right.
9.5 of them right.
So, speaking of Super Bowl and like undefeated teams, those things go in hand to hand. There has never been an undefeated Super Bowl champion besides the Miami Dolphins, but that is a shortened season, so like I'm not for sure if you could really count that as undefeated or not.
No, I mean, yeah, they played 14 games and they won. It's 17-0. I mean, yeah, it wasn't like a strike shortened season, but
Right.
They won enough of their games. They won 14, 17-0, man. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So the question of the day that I'm going to present to you right now, we have several undefeated teams here. Kansas City Chiefs being one of those. When do you see Kansas City Chiefs winning or losing their first game of the year?
Great question. They play. I'm gonna look at their schedule real quick. I know they play Houston in a few couple of weeks.
But that is at Arrowhead, so I don't think Houston's going to go into Arrowhead and beat them.
Yeah, but you never know.
Right.
Listen, they get by Detroit. Okay, they beat Indianapolis. They beat Houston at Denver. Holy. I don't know. They got at New England December 8th at 4:25. I mean, they literally could be 3, 6, 9, 12. They could be 12-0 entering the game at New England on December 8th. That's possible, man. That is real. That is, you just have a few hiccups. You think they're going to be Houston. I do too, but you just that one you got to circle a little bit and a little pause, little caution there. And then what's a little trap game is the one you're going to at Detroit. Little trap game there, but I still see Kansas City winning. They're just faster. They're going to be on Detroit Lions turf.
Right.
So they're gonna be faster, man. DeMarcus Robinson and McCall Hardman and Sammy Watkins. That's gonna be fun to watch, man. They're gonna be fast in that dome. So, man, they literally could be 12-0. Because the Chargers game a couple of weeks before the New England game is at Arrowhead. It's a Monday Night Football.
Right.
I mean, you never know on that either. But man, I would not be shocked at all if they were 12-0 heading into the New England game.
I wouldn't be shocked either, but I think you kind of skimmed over one game that kind of is a Thor sum, and like in my heart here is a Thursday night game at Mile High Stadium. I believe that'd be week 7. So they play at home versus the Texans, and then the following Thursday they travel to Mile High Stadium for that Thursday night game. So they're going to be battered and brewed going into Thursday, not giving them those 2 extra days of like rest or 3 extra days of like rest. So that could be one of those trap games that I'm kind of like,
yes.
And you're at Mile High Stadium as well.
Yes.
So that's definitely a home field advantage for them. But moving past that point, even like the next week, you can say the battle of the unbeatens right now because they're both undefeated. You had the Green Bay Packers coming into Arrowhead on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers always steps up big for these big primetime games. This could be another great game as well.
No, absolutely. Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. I mean, listen, Kansas City Chiefs' schedule is not easy, man.
No.
I mean, so and you hit it right on the head too, because let me tell you something would get a little scary if you're a Chiefs fan. If you happen to lose to Deshaun Watson, say on the last, like whoever had the ball last, and Deshaun threw this crazy pass, and then the Texans kicked the game-winning field goal. Man, you got to turn around, forget about the loss to Houston. If you lose that one, it's scary. And then you've got a Thursday night at Denver. That could be a little. Those 4 days are a little hairy there.
Right.
But yeah, you're 100% correct. That Aaron Rodgers game, that the Monday night football or Sunday night football, whatever it is, that's pretty big. And then right after that, you have to play against Minnesota's tough defense. Minnesota has really good defense.
Yeah.
You got to play that.
Yeah.
And then you're at Tennessee, man. This is not an easy schedule at all for the Kansas City Chiefs. But that shows you how good the Chiefs are. Because I'm sitting here saying I wouldn't be surprised if they're 12-0.
Yeah.
But yet on the other hand, I'm saying they have a tough schedule. So that means they're a talented football team.
Yeah, you are 100% correct there, and that Tennessee might be a trap game as well. So, like I am on the same boat as you. I'm not surprised if they'll be 12-0 going to that Patriot game, which I think they'll beat the Patriots still, just because Bill Belichick does hold those cards close to the vest when he plays against these possible playoff matchups going down the field. He'll throw a very vanilla offensive and very vanilla defense at you during that game. But let's go ahead and move on to the next team that is undefeated as well. Let's go to the Green Bay Packers. They are undefeated like as well. They do play Thursday night. Well, let's go ahead and pick that Thursday night game here while we're at here as well. They are playing the Eagles on Thursday night. First things first, do you see them beating the Eagles on Thursday night?
Absolutely. And listen, I'm trying to get the best record, and I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan as well, and I want the best record in the NFC. So you would think I'd be rooting for the Eagles just to help them be 2-2, and then just give Green Bay a loss. But I think my son convinced me the other day. He says he don't care if the Packers are 4-0. He said just bury the Eagles season on Thursday night. Just help that put a little more dirt in that coffin, because the Eagles surviving, after starting having a 1-3 start, there's no way they're going to catch Dallas. I don't care how early it is in the season.
Right.
They're not catching Dallas if they're 1-3. They might make the playoffs. They might, turn their season around and go 10-6, but they're not going to win the division. That's a bold statement right there. It's this early in the season. If the Eagles lose Thursday night, they will not win the division. They might make the playoffs. They will not win the division. So I guess I am going for Green Bay to a certain extent. And I hate the Packers as well. So, Green Bay will be 4-0. But then the following week, Green Bay goes to Dallas, and that's where their perfect season will end.
Okay. And I am pretty much concurred with you on that as well. But I want to take it one step further. This is a must-win game for the Philadelphia Eagles here on this Thursday night matchup. And if they lose this game, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think the team will crumble upon itself. They have an injury-prone quarterback that is consistently getting hurt. I think he has bruised like a bruised rib now or something. He took a lot of shots this past week. The wide receivers can't catch the ball. But with all that being said, if the Philadelphia Eagles would have caught 5 or 6 balls in those 2 games that they lost, we could be talking 3-0 maybe. But if they lose this game at Green Bay, the drops passes will continue to happen. The injuries will continue to add up, because when you are 1-4, 1-3, though, that sprained ankle hurts a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, and they're already injury prone as is. They've lost pretty much their whole starting receiving core here, and it's only going into week 4. Now, to add to the point of when will the Packers lose their first game? I think it's going to be versus the Cowboys, but if it's not versus the Cowboys on that Sunday afternoon game, look for that Monday night game. Detroit Lions traveling to Green Bay. Okay? The reason why I say this, yes, I said earlier that Aaron Rodgers steps up for the big primetime games, right?
Right.
But it's also the Detroit Lions. It's also the Detroit Lions. This could be a very overlooked game. It could be a trap game for the Green Bay Packers.
So, and listen, this is one of those intra-division games, man. Detroit knows everything Green Bay is going to do. Green Bay knows everything Detroit's going to do. Like, I know they have new coaches and everything like that, but these guys study each other on a weekly basis. I mean, they pretty much know the personnel very well.
So speaking of which, that division with the Packers, Bears, and Lions, oh my, they are 7-0-1 versus the rest of the league. besides those inter-division games that they've played. Are we able to possibly say this is the strongest division in the NFL so far?
Um, that's possible. I haven't really looked at who the strongest division is in the NFL so far. Yeah, I mean, let me look at these standings here. I like the AFC South. Yeah, you're talking about NFC North. Yeah, absolutely, that is the strongest division right now in football. Yeah,
They
when you
haven't
got the
lost
worst
anybody.
team, you're right. When you have the worst team as the Chicago Bears, yes, right now, yes, I'd have to agree with you. Absolutely.
Okay, so speaking of undefeated teams, the Dallas Cowboys are 3-0 as well. When are they going to get their first loss of the year?
The way they're playing, and I know that they played three mediocre teams. I understand all that, but if they can somehow get by Teddy Bridgewater, they get a little break getting Teddy Bridgewater. And every time I say that, I hate to say that because I put a little disclaimer on it. Teddy Bridgewater is not a bad quarterback.
He's pretty
He is a
darn good.
little bit above average quarterback, but he is not Drew Brees. Okay, people. So, but if they can get by New Orleans, wow. I mean, I know they're playing Aaron Rodgers. Philly is at home at Giants, at Detroit. I mean, they could lose at Detroit on November 17th. That's possible. Or they could
Nah.
lose at New England. They could lose at New England week 12, the 4 days before Thanksgiving. That I mean, that they
Yeah,
could be undefeated for a
yeah.
while here too. If they can get by New Orleans, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like if they get past this game, looking at the schedule, they have Packers at home, then they're at the Jets, Eagles at home, at the Giants, Vikings at home, and then that Detroit Lion game. That kind of scares me right now, but I think the Lions are like they'll be falling off
Right.
like at that point. But then that Patriot game, going to New England in November,
Yeah.
week before Thanksgiving or 3 days before Thanksgiving,
Right.
in that 4:25 time slot, that game kind of scares me a little bit. If they get past that game, I'm
Right.
looking at a 16-0 season. If they beat New England Patriots
Right.
and they're undefeated at that point, I don't see them losing. They're not losing to the Bills at home.
Well,
Chicago's to be a tough game. They'll pull that out. Maybe the Rams. Maybe the Rams come into Texas Stadium, the house that Jerry built. Maybe they can come in and win that game. But other than that, ugh.
well, look, it's a little bit of murder's row here because Bill Belichick's defense is going to be tough.
Right.
Let me just tell you something. The casual fan looks at the Thanksgiving Day game and goes, "Oh, it's Buffalo. Oh, thank you. I can eat my turkey really well." Dude, I will guarantee you that. I'm going to guarantee this right now. If Buffalo's defense is still playing this well, Dallas will struggle to score. Dallas will win the Buffalo Thanksgiving Day game. It'll be boring. It'll be like 17-13 because Dak and the company will have a hard time scoring against the Bills, and it'll be up to the Cowboys defense to shut down Allen and Josh Allen and company. So yeah, that's going to be pretty good. And then at Detroit, at Chicago. So New England, Buffalo, and at Chicago, and then you play Wade Phillips defense, the Rams. Then you play Philadelphia. They have 5 games in a row there where defensive wise, Dak and them better be ready because they're playing 5 good defenses, great defenses in a row.
I agree with that. But I still think if they beat the Patriots, they're going to be on that little streak and
Right.
be on that high streak. So
Right.
I'm actually kind of hoping that they lose to the Patriots just to regroup, so they aren't
Right.
at the peak yet. So a few other undefeated teams here. We just talked about them. The Buffalo Bills. They are surprisingly 3-0. Do they get their first loss this week versus the Patriots?
That's pretty tough. I mean, I think they are, but I think they're going to shock people into New England's just not going to go walk in there and just destroy them. I don't see that happening. So this is going to be a really good football game. One I really look forward to watching. So yeah, they probably do get their first loss here, but it and if they somehow beat New England, that's insane, right? I mean, they're
Right.
4-0. Then they'll be headed to Tennessee. I think they'll get their first loss there. I think they'll be high and mighty. You know what I mean? So this is the thing we're talking about. When are they going to have their first loss? I think it's this Sunday, but if not, it will be next Sunday. I don't think they'll be able to handle the 4-0 and the success of beating New England.
Right.
They're going to lead off Sports Center if they beat New England.
Oh,
When
hands
was the
down.
last time? When was the last time Buffalo Bills led off newscasts? This will be one. And
Which
after that, they at Tennessee, they will not handle prosperity very well. They will lose at Tennessee. I'm predicting. And then after that, they have Miami and New England. They're going to destroy Miami, but Philadelphia. But yeah, they're going to get their first loss. And I picked Buffalo to go 9-7 and battle for the division title. To be honest, but they're going to get their first loss in the next 2 weeks, whether it's New England or at Tennessee.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on the limb and see if the tree breaks. I am predicting that Patriots get their first loss this week versus the Buffalo Bills, but then the Bills lose next week versus the Tennessee
That's what I
Titans.
thought. Yeah. Hmm.
So let me ask you this: when is the Patriots going to get their first first loss?
Oh man, well the Patriots, they still have to play the Texans, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs, right? I mean, that's
Yep,
not. Yeah, that's not very easy.
and the Browns.
That's yeah, the Browns offensive line. Oh my God, I mean they're pretty. Let me see here at Wash. Oh my God, man, the if the Patriots get by Buffalo, they won't be tested until at Baltimore week 9. I don't think.
Yeah, and that's a Sunday night game. Are you predicting them to lose that game?
Yeah, yes, I am. So yes, I think they'll lose that game. Let's see here. Yeah, because then they have a tough. Then Baltimore, Philly, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City. That's a 5-game murder row for the maybe the undefeated Patriots.
Well,
At Baltimore, at Philly, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City. Those are 5 games that are pretty wild.
yeah, you can say all that, but I think their loss is going to come a little bit earlier. Monday
Okay.
night matchup versus the New York Jets. Yes, you're kind of scratching your head like, what's going on? I think
What?
the Jets are going to step up. They're going to find their quarterback, and they're going to come back and they're going to shock the world and beat the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football.
Wow. As long as Sam Darnold's there, I agree with that. It can't be Luke Falk. It's got to be Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Right. And so and let's talk about one more undefeated NFL team here. A surprising team to me, the San Francisco 49ers. When do you think they're going to lose their first game?
That's a great question, Michael. I predicted, as you know, the San Francisco 49ers to go 10-6 this year. So them being undefeated does not surprise me whatsoever. But I mean, they're going to take some losses here. I mean, soon. So let me see here. Matter of fact, if my prediction comes true, they'd have to play almost a little bit better than 500 ball. They'd have to just go 7-6 the rest of their 13 games, just for my prediction, 10-6. So um, let me see here. They got Cleveland at Rams. Probably will be their first loss. So they'll beat Cleveland 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, going into the Rams game, they'll probably lose that first Rams game, and they'll be 4-1.
Yeah, the Rams are kind of making me scratch my
Yeah.
head a little bit. Yes, they're undefeated, but they played some sloppy football, and
Yeah.
and I'm not for sure if they can beat the 49ers on that Sunday night or that Sunday afternoon game. I'm just
Right.
I'm kind of concerned about that. But I think the 49ers first loss is going to come to a team that we least expect it from. And I think it's going to be the Washington Redskins. I think Haskins is like that'll be his first start
Yeah.
versus the 49ers, and he's going to come out. The team's going to play well. It's a home game. It's a Sunday afternoon game, or
Yeah.
sorry, it's the early games, and I just think the Redskins are going to give them their first loss on that Sunday game.
This is the NFL, man. It's week to week. Listen, Washington's going to go 4-12. So, which four are they winning? They're going to beat somebody's ass. They're going to sneak up on somebody, and you
Right.
picked one of them that they could sneak up on. So there you go. You know, I can't say anything negative about your pick because this is a week to week league.
So there's one other undefeated team left in the NFL at 3-0, the LA Rams.
All
When do
right.
you think they're going to get their first loss?
Oh my goodness. Let me see here. Tampa at Seattle, week 5. It's a Monday night. It's no. Wait, is that? That's Thursday night. That at Seattle they'll get beat.
Yeah,
So that's the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll be 4-0.
yes. See, if this game was not a primetime home game for Seattle, I'll definitely be picking the Rams. But
Yeah.
I do like your pick there. I think Seattle is going to lay it on the Rams on that Sunday night game 100%.
Right.
when I say late on them, it's going to be like 17-14 game. It's going to be a very, very low scoring slugfest type of game, I think, because
Right.
it's probably going to be raining and the wind blowing and whatnot. But those are the list of the undefeated teams.
Well,
And,
there's one more undefeated,
oh,
but I think they're losing this Sunday, and that's the
Detroit
game you're
Lions.
going to, the Lions.
Yep.
I think the Lions, they're 2-0-1. Congratulations to Matt Patricia, but you'll be 2-1-1 by Sunday night.
So let me ask you this question, because I'm in a couple Facebook groups just as long as like you are, and this same question kind of came up in the group in the chat, and like people were asking who is the most surprising undefeated team, and the Detroit Lions came up over and over and over. Do you
Yeah,
consider them undefeated?
yeah, because they haven't had a loss.
Exactly.
That's they are undefeated. I mean, if it was hockey, uh, man, it's weird. Hockey, they go through a stretch where they'll go, wait, it's an 18 game, not like the undefeated stretch, and then you look at it, you go, wow, did they win 18 in a row? No, they won 11 and tied 7.
Right.
So it's still considered, you didn't lose yet. So yeah, I do agree they haven't lost yet. But I mean, that's it'll be their first loss on Sunday. But that being said, I think you're going to see a highly competitive football game. This won't be it won't be like 45-3.
Right.
If it is, wow, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, if it is 45-3, my wife will be kind of be upset because she's hoping for a highly competitive game. Now that we've gone through every undefeated team, uh, who do you think has the best chance of going the longest undefeated streak here? Is it going to be the Chiefs? Is it going to be the Patriots? Is it going to be the Rams? The Cowboys?
Uh, Man, that is the best question of the day, man. That's the $64 million question or whatever. Man, I want to say the Cowboys, really, I do. But man, New England is tough. Kansas City could be 12-0 easily. If Dallas gets by New Orleans, wow, they could be 11-0. I mean, man, I don't even know if I can even answer that. I mean, you know what? I'll go since I'll go with my Super Bowl winner. I predicted the Chiefs to beat the Cowboys. I'll go ahead and say Kansas City will be 12-0 until they get their first loss. And let me see who did I predict them that their first loss?
Patriots.
Yeah, it was at Patriots. That'll be their first loss. But see, here's the thing: if they're 12-0 and New England's already suffered if New England's going into that game like 9-2 as well, that's gonna be tough. Man, Kansas City could really put a clamps on the number 1 seed. By losing to New England, the Chiefs could give New England a little bit of hope of getting that number 1 seed still. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with your pick there, simply because of elimination of like when the top 3 teams in the NFL play each other. The top three
Right.
teams I'm talking about the Cowboys, the Patriots, and the Chiefs. So the Cowboys and Patriots, they play that last Sunday in November, and if they're both undefeated going into that point, somebody has to lose, like at that point. So let's just say the Cowboys lose like that week. I'm not predicting that, but I'm like, let's just say they do. So we go down the schedule 3 or 4 weeks, and then the Chiefs are playing the Patriots. Then the winner of that game will be the last undefeated team, and I'm going to have to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are
Yeah.
going to go into New England, and they're going to beat the Patriots.
Wow.
Just because I think Bill Belichick is going to try to slow play this game. He's going to be out of his element and just be a basic defense, make a basic offense, just so he doesn't give the Chiefs any film for the NFC Championship the AFC Championship game. With all that being said, the Rams, I really haven't gone too in depth in their schedule, but their division's pretty weak. So I wouldn't be surprised if the
Yeah.
Rams do go on like a 13-14 game stretch as well.
I have them at 10-6. I think they digress, from the 13-3. So really, I think they're losing at Seattle, and I think they could lose at Atlanta. Um, you know, after 7 weeks, they'll be 5-2 in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. And then going back to your New England, Kansas City, man, Bill Belichick always takes out one thing that you do well.
Right.
I think they take out Travis Kelce, but if you do that, you're sitting there with Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman, DeMar. Who are you taking out there? Man, the McCourty brothers are going to have their work cut out for them that game. And,
So
and yeah,
let me kind of trump you there because I think they leave Travis Kelsey. They let the
okay,
passing game kind of take care of itself, but they take away that like that sweet game or the reverses. They want to shut down the running game because they are playing in New England in
right.
November. You never know what kind of weather you were going to get up there.
Right.
For one, it is going to be cold, so the ball is going to be harder. It's going to be harder to like catch. It could be snowing there as well. If it is snowing or raining and cold, let them pass on you all day
Right.
long. I would much rather get beat deep two or three times then and then let Shady McCoy
Right.
run on me for a buck 30. I think they're going to take away the running game against the Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah. No, that sounds interesting. I just, when you have a player like Kelsey, man, I mean, that's why I said the McCourty brothers, New England secondary, Patrick Chung and Stephon Gilmore. That's going to be the most tested their secondary will be this year
You're right.
easily.
You're
And
right.
they have a really and they have a really good secondary. I just don't see how they cover everybody. That's man, I cannot wait for that game. And that we got to wait a long time for that
Yeah.
game. But yeah, it's going to be fun.
So I'm a part of the Kansas City group chat. Me and my friends, we always
Okay.
talk crap to each other because we have a bunch of Broncos fans and Chargers fans and that
Right.
kind of thing here. And and like one of my friends brought up to me that is Kansas City versus New England one of the greatest rivalries in the NFL. And I told it, hold up, man. They've only played like 3 or 4 times in the
Right.
last few years. So how can you consider that a rivalry? But would you consider this a rivalry? Kind of like how the Colts and Patriots were back when it was Manny and Tom Brady.
It's a mini rivalry because what you saw last year was they played each other for all the marbles.
Right.
That's the beginning of a rivalry, and then they're going to play each other again coming up to see who gets the number one seed, and that's going to be really interesting as well. The problem, if Tom Brady was like 35 or 34, I would say, yeah, this is the beginning of something right here. It could be a 7-year run of something. But the fact that he's like 42,
Yeah.
probably not. You know what I mean. So it's good. The New England better get their New England better get their. Well, I don't even need to say this because they already have too many Super Bowls. But they better capitalize on Tom Brady's final year. I think
Yes.
this is Brady's. I really do think this is Brady's final year. And he didn't announce it like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan just said, "Hey, bye, I'm see you." I
Yeah.
don't think Brady's going to come back for some tour. I don't think you do that with football, because you sit there and say, "Oh, you know what? The following year is my final year. I'm going to take the tour and get all the gifts from everybody." And then guess what? You get hurt week 4. I don't think Brady.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just think he's taking it year to year. And he's taking it really game to game, and he's having fun with it still. But I think this is Tom Brady's final year. And so, no, I don't think it'll be a rival moving forward because Jarrett Stidham doesn't sound the same versus Patrick Mahomes doesn't sound the same.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of final years, I've kind of blown off this topic since everything has happened last Friday here. But I before we go for today, I gotta ask you this question: will Antonio Brown ever be on another NFL team?
Yes, because um, he didn't like physically assault anybody. Like, in other words, like he didn't hit. Like another, he kind of I mean, kind of like I don't want to go into gory details, but he did with the sexual like a little in nature. I understand that wasn't his wife or whatever, but there's no video of him smacking anybody, hitting the female at the restaurant. There's none of that. There's no video. He didn't do any of that. He's a freaking knucklehead. I would not want him on my team.
Right.
Okay, let me just say that. I don't have time for foolishness. I don't have time for stupidity, Michael. I don't do stupid. Okay. And so he probably would not be on my team. But yes, next year there'll be a team that'll say, hey, you know what? I mean, just like I said, he didn't beat anybody up and all that. If he comes in with the right attitude, he doesn't put us on Facebook and Snapchat and all the BS stuff that he likes to do, the silly stuff. He doesn't record my. I would put all that in the contract. If you record my phone call and it's on an ESPN commercial, I'm suing you. That's what he did to Gruden.
Well, supposedly John Gruden knew about the call and like he signed off on the on the rights on that call. So, uh, y- because like I would
I just right.
I would think if he wouldn't like ESPN would have definitely have not aired it.
Right. No, no, no. I think what happened is he. I don't think he knew that he. I don't think that Gruden knew initially that he was being taped. But then when Antonio Brown said, "Hey, look, you gave me some good soundbite, Coach, and I'm gonna let you play it back. And here's what I want to put on this commercial." And Coach probably listened to it, and it was like inspirational. It was like, "Man, we need you." And Coach Gruden probably went, "Okay, that's fine."
Right.
So,
So
but still, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. Like I'm coaching. I don't want any of that. Like none of my stuff. I don't want that out there unless I put it in a book myself. I mean, I just don't want. I just, Michael. I don't do in my own personal life. I don't do well with foolishness. So I know running a football team, and you help run a high school football team. That's a there can be a little foolishness there because you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-olds, right?
we don't take any
That's fine.
shit.
I don't want to do any foolishness with 30-year-olds. I don't 25. I don't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
You got to know better.
So
Yeah.
let me get back to the topic of Antonio Brown ever playing football again. So we have quite arguably the greatest franchise in the modern day NFL football year. The New England Patriots had Antonio Brown and they cut him a week after that. Like if the New England Patriots cannot straighten out Antonio Brown, there is not going to be any team, any franchise, any coach that can straighten him out. With that being said, I do think he will land on a NFL team, but the NFL team has to be somebody like that is already kind of a dysfunctional case that is kind of like skating
Right.
by, i.e., the Detroit Lions.
Oh
They
my God.
they need a big receiver with that $100 million quarterback that they have. You know, maybe because when Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford were on the same team, that offense looked pretty good. And with things that are happening right now in Detroit, things look positive. But let's be honest, they are just like a duck on a pond. They are doing everything they can to stay afloat right now. And they sign somebody
Right.
like Antonio Brown that will help catapult maybe their team and like their season to maybe just have a little bit of success. Teams that do not even want to even entertain this idea are teams that have young coaches, young quarterbacks, and a strong core. Like
Michael,
for
man. Hey.
for example, the Arizona
Uh,
Cardinals do not
yeah.
touch Antonio Brown. New York Giants do not touch Antonio Brown. Jets do not touch Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I think there are maybe two or three teams like the Detroit Lions, maybe Miami, and maybe Tampa Bay that could really benefit from a talent like Antonio Brown, because he's going to tear your team apart from the inside out, and maybe give you 5 or 6 wins to keep your head coaching up
My,
for the next year.
Michael, that was since we've been doing this show. That was actually that was the best thing I mean, you've said a lot of good things, but right then and there, it was crazy. It was like ESP or something. When you said that, did you just think about the Lions, or did that just pop in your head, or you thought about it?
No, that
Because
just came in my head. Yeah.
I was about to tell you the Lions, and you said the Lions. Like that's the perfect fit. Darrell Bevel, and who's the offensive coordinator, and Matthew Stafford would love Antonio Brown. Come in there. He can almost kind of be a knucklehead there with Matt Patricia. To be honest,
Right.
they need butts in the seats. They have $100 million quarterback. Matter of fact, that might be so good that hell, they might even sign him in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Like I'm not joking.
And
He,
and
he would be perfect for that.
and the and the media attention is not around the Detroit Lions like it is in Oakland or New England. This is a small market team, and like he can kind of just float away into the skylight like a little bit. So,
Right.
I mean, but with all that being said, guys, that is going to be it for today's show. We both have the Kansas City Chiefs going undefeated as far as what week 14, I think it is, week
Right.
12, something
Yeah.
to that effect. Whenever they play the Patriots, uh, Antonio Brown will be on another NFL team.
Right.
Before we head out,
And
Marcus, any closing thoughts?
yeah, I got the Packers tomorrow night. We don't have a show tomorrow. We'll have one Friday, I think. I got the Packers tonight. Packers tomorrow night. Who do you got?
I'm going with the home team, the Packers as
Okay.
well. I think the Eagles are riddled with so much injuries, and with them playing on Sunday and then only having 3 days to really prepare and to heal. I mean,
Right.
this is why Thursday night football games suck. Is
They
because
do.
you have a team like the Philadelphia Eagles that need those 2 extra days to get their receivers back because they're going to be short. Deshaun Jackson, they're going to be short Jeffries as well. I think the only starting receiver that they have is Nelson Aguilar, and he is drop prone. So,
Right.
like with all that being said, I'm going to go with the Packers. I think they're clicking. I think they're rolling really, really well. Give them 4-0 on the season, and home team does not lose on Thursday night. That's just the way
Right.
it is.
Got you.
So, guys, that's going to be it for today's show. Join us on Friday, like Marcus said. We're going to talk a little college football and make our Week 4 NFL picks as well. So, we'll see you up Friday. We out.
All right.